Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer. So let's just jump right into it. Dodge is officially celebrating 60 years of the iconic Charger. And man, to mark the occasion, they're bringing back an absolute legend. The Super Bee is back for 2027 as a launch edition. And trust me, it's making a massive statement. Over the next few minutes, we're going to walk through exactly what makes this the quickest, fastest, and most powerful gas-powered Charger you can buy today.
Now we got to address the elephant in the room right off the bat. Under the aggressive hood of this new Super Bee, yeah, there is no HEMI V8. I know. A lot of you traditional muscle car purists might be feeling a bit of skepticism right now, maybe even a little betrayal. But hold on a second, because what Dodge has replaced it with, well, it's going to completely change how you look at modern muscle.
The magic number here is 600. That's 600 horsepower. This car literally means business. Dodge really wanted to prove that losing 2 cylinders absolutely doesn't mean losing a single ounce of aggression. And dropping this massive output right out of the gate makes it crystal clear. The Super Bee is here to dominate the road.
Let me introduce you to the Hurricane 6-pack. It's a 3.0-liter twin-turbocharged inline-six. And it's not just pushing out that 600 horsepower, it's also delivering a tire-shredding 531 pound-feet of torque. This is the high-output version of the 6-pack engine, and honestly, through some sheer engineering wizardry, Dodge managed to squeeze out 50 more horsepower than you'll even find in the current Scat Pack. That's a huge bump.
So if you're still sitting there missing the V8, let's look at some numbers that might just change your mind. The new inline-six Super Bee hits 60 miles per hour in a blistering 3.6 seconds, and it runs the quarter mile in 11.8 seconds. Think about that for a second. That 0 to 60 time is actually quicker than the legendary V8-powered 2015 Charger Hellcat. No way, right? The numbers simply do not lie here. This new powertrain is an absolute rocket.
Okay, so how on earth did they achieve those blistering times without a V8? Well, it's all in the Hurricane hardware. Dodge fitted this block with significantly larger 56mm Garrett turbochargers. And get this, they're pumping out over 30 psi of boost. That is a massive, massive amount of pressure forcing air into the engine. Pair that heavy forced induction with a specially retuned ECU, and you get an explosive power delivery that just launches this car off the line with incredible violence.
But hey, making power is really only half the battle, right? Surviving the intense heat of a track day, that's the other half. Dodge went ahead and upgraded the cooling system entirely, giving the Super Bee 50% more radiator capacity. Plus, they threw in this incredibly smart race prep function. Basically, after you run a hot lap and shut off the engine, the cooling fans intentionally keep running to prevent heat soak. It's just brilliant functional engineering designed specifically for heavy abuse.
Moving on to Section 2. Power needs control, building a dedicated track weapon.
Because let's face it, a 600 horsepower muscle car is pretty much useless without the hardware to keep it glued to the tarmac. To rein in all that power, you get massive 16-inch Brembo vented rotors squeezed by 6-piston calipers up front and 4-piston units out back. Connecting you to the road, sticky 305 section Goodyear Eagle F1 Supercar 3 tires, all wrapped around 20-inch forged wheels. And for the very first time, Dodge is equipping this thing with dual-valve adaptive dampers and increased spring rates. That gives you the sheer grip and precision you really need for serious apex hunting.
The sheer scale of this stopping power is kind of hard to wrap your head around. The Super Bee actually boasts 3 times the brake fade resistance of your standard 6-pack Chargers. And even more impressively, it offers double the fade resistance of the previous generation SRT models. That is monumental. When you're diving into a tight corner at well over 100 miles per hour, this is exactly the kind of heavy-duty engineering that builds ultimate trust in your machine.
But honestly, it's the drivetrain's incredible flexibility that completely steals the show for me. Out of the box, the Super Bee utilizes standard all-wheel drive to ensure maximum grip and perfect launches. But Dodge knows their audience, right? They know we want to have some old-school muscle car fun. So right there on the steering wheel, there's a dedicated button that instantly switches the car to on-demand 100% rear-wheel drive. You literally get the best of both worlds: clinical track precision and tire-smoking drift capability just at the push of a button.
All right, let's look at Section 3, Heritage Meets Future, the Launch Edition style.
For this limited production run, which by the way is being built at the Windsor, Ontario plant, Dodge is keeping the palette super exclusive. You basically have 3 specific color choices for the launch edition. There's this absolutely wild yellow-green called Sucker Punch, a very sleek gray aptly named Shady, and of course, for the traditionalists out there, the classic Diamond Black. These aren't just colors, they're distinct attitudes.
Now, the exterior isn't just about looking mean. It's heavily about aerodynamic function. You'll definitely notice the distinct new Stinger graphics running down the side, letting everyone know exactly what you're driving. But check out the aero components. It features a huge new front splitter that's actually a full third longer than the one found on the Scat Pack. Combine that with a redesigned, highly aggressive rear spoiler and, well, it's a beast. These cues visually distinguish the Super Bee for sure, but they fundamentally exist to keep this thing planted at high speeds.
Let's step inside the cabin for a second. The choice of materials in here is totally track-focused. You're getting high-bolstered cloth performance seats, and yes, I said cloth. It's purposefully designed to keep you firmly in place during hard cornering without sliding around like you might on leather. It's accented with this vibrant sour lemon contrast stitching that really pops. Plus, for the track day enthusiasts, Dodge integrated a Cosworth Drive Experience Recorder. It captures your track videos and telemetry data in crisp 1080p, so you can go back, analyze, and perfect every single lap.
Okay, you have to check out the sheer cleverness of Dodge's design team here. If you look really closely at the newly embroidered Super Bee logo on those headrests, you'll spot an incredible Easter egg. The Bee itself, it's actually designed to look like a spooled turbocharger. It is such a cool touch, and it perfectly symbolizes the brand's dramatic shift, moving away from massive V8 displacement and boldly embracing this high-tech, high-power world of forced induction.
Which really brings us to the core thesis of our explainer today. The replacement for displacement is forced induction. And, well, incredibly smart engineering, of course. We've looked at the 600 horsepower, those massive Brembo brakes, the adaptive dampers, and that wild 3.6-second 0 to 60 time. Dodge has proven through cold, hard engineering facts that this inline-six Super Bee isn't just some placeholder. It is a wildly capable, thoroughly modern successor to a 60-year legacy.
All right, let's wrap this up with one final thought. The 2027 Charger Super Bee Launch Edition is a seriously impressive piece of machinery. And while we're all eagerly waiting for the official pricing and those exact order dates to drop, the only real question left to ask yourself is, are you ready for the sting? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep your eyes on the track, and as always, keep learning.